Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
See anybody. I mean, we Chicago. I mean, I think they're going to trade everybody, Zach, and like what direction you want to talk about? Like, what direction you think Chicago should go next?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So your concern, I mean, my concern meaning for the Bulls, as far as they're presently constructed as a 5, because they're going to blow it up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it.
Yeah. So let's just do this instead of talking about. First of all, let me ask you this: do you think they should blow it up? Move on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
They should just. It's just done. If Lonzo wasn't hurt, I wouldn't.
I'm with you.
I think if when Lonzo was in the lineup, that they were amazing. That with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, they had a facilitator. They don't have that.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's just so unfortunate, man, and that's why I feel like, because now even if they're saying Lonzo's coming back next year, that's a whole nother year now.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so unfair for Zach. I mean, how old is he? Isn't he? He's almost close to 30 now, right? Or in his late 20s?
Yeah, I feel like he's like 28. He's been
28, 29 or something like that.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be closer to 30. Let me look.
Yeah, I just feel like Zach probably, just for these other players to try and at least be contenders, and they're still in their prime still. So, as a Bulls fan, if I was a Bulls fan, I would try to like wait for Lonzo to come back next year. But from a basketball perspective, I just don't want to see these guys suffer anymore. So that's why I would say just blow it up, and maybe just Chicago just rebuild. And how much trust do you have that Lonzo will be back fully to himself next year? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many more years are you just going to keep wasting? You know what I'm saying? So it's
2 years of no basketball is tough. Like that's what you're. Yeah. So just real quick, yes or no? Would you trade Zach LaVine?
Yes, I would.
DeMar DeRozan?
DeMar DeRozan, yep.
And Nurkic.
They still got Nurkic, yes. I think there's a lot of value with them.
Yeah.
So do it while they're still valuable. If you wait too long and then nobody's going to want them.
Right.
And you might not get too much. I'd still get as much as you can while they're still valuable now, whether it's draft picks, maybe another key player or whatever, just to build your franchise around to start, and it might not even be, you might not get like another star player from them, but somebody that, you could get draft picks for, just to get rebuilding.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. So is there, let's just go one at a time. So obviously there's also Alex Caruso, a lesser player, but he's still a really good role player. I'm not trying, but he's not at the level of Zach LaVine.
Right.
Is there any of those players on the Bulls where you'd like to see him on a different team? What team would that be? I know I'm kind of springing this on you. I didn't have that in the outline, but like,
yeah, no.
If you could see DeRozan on a different team or Zach LaVine on a different team, what team would you pick that you'd like to see those players play for, be on?
Oh, that's tough. Well, if I'm just saying from an NBA perspective, I would want Zach LaVine on one of these contenders in the East. As a Celtics fan, I would want Zach LaVine somewhere in the West.
Yeah.
Same with DeRozan. They're still in their prime, still where they can help one of these contenders get to a championship. I feel like, in my opinion, that's why I would want them out of Chicago, because I feel like they're that good to, be in the contending conversation, to be on a contender. They deserve that. I can't really say where I could see Zach going, because I'm not really good with, contracts and then salary cap and what team, but I would just say maybe Zach, maybe to Miami, maybe. I don't know if that would work like realistically as far as money goes, or who Miami would trade for, where Chicago, like I don't know where that would go or how that would work, but Just on a contender, I would like to see Zach on. DeMar DeRozan, man, I know he wanted to go to the Lakers. Maybe he could go. Maybe he could go to the Lakers. Maybe the Lakers could trade somebody for him, or some draft picks. I don't know how many draft picks the Lakers got, or what they could trade for. But yeah, it'd be one of those two teams from an NBA perspective. I would want Zach LaVine nowhere near any East teams or DeMar DeRozan. Just being a Celtics fan, I don't want him on Philly. I don't want him in Milwaukee or anything like that, or the Knicks. But I did hear Zach could go to the Knicks. I've been seeing some trade rumors about that. Or Philly too. Zach to Philly. That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's the one
But
team I'm like, man, if they could get Zach LaVine, that'd be interesting.
Philly, you're saying
Yeah,
Philly?
Philly, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, right. No.
Not as a Celtic
Oh,
fan, huh?
no, that would be tough. That would
Yeah.
be really tough. Because
So they wouldn't
Zach can give you 40.
I know, and he's
You
really
know what I'm
good,
saying?
like catch and shoot kind of guy. He can shoot from 30 feet, 35 feet from the
Yes.
basket. He's a
Yes.
fire. Like he could just get hot. I think if I'm Philly, they're doing really good right now. And I think they're like trying to see how this all works out. But you have the contracts and you have the picks where you could give the Bulls because the Bulls should be after picks and expiring contracts. That's what they should be after for the rebuild. So I'd like to see Zach LaVine on a team like as a Piston fan who has no horse in the race this year. For the NBA to be fun, I'd like to see Zach LaVine on the Philadelphia 76ers. I think that'd be pretty crazy to have him, Maxey, and Embiid together.
Yeah. That backcourt would be nasty. Maxey and him.
Correct, yeah. DeRozan, I sneaky want him to be a Heat just for him and Lowry to get back together.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's actually good. Yeah.
And again, they got expiring in picks. I think that that would entice the Bulls. I think for Caruso, I think Milwaukee really should go hard after Alex Caruso to get a guard that can guard next to Lillard. I think that would help the Bucks immensely. And then Nurkic, I don't really have a spot for Nurkic. I was looking at teams. He's an offensive center, so I guess if the Clippers got a little desperate,
he could go to the Clippers.
He could go to the Clippers.
That's a good fit.
But as far as other teams that are trying to like compete, I don't know. Maybe the Grizzlies, because the Grizzlies kind of need a big
Steven Adams. Yeah,
that could be interesting. Maybe Phoenix. I don't know. Golden State's another sneaky one to watch out for a trade because their team, they haven't been good the last couple games, and Steph's been injured, and if Steph ain't scoring, nobody's scoring. So be another team to watch out for. But yeah.
Those are good. Those are good picks. I totally forgot. The only thing that, I'm trying to get good at, and some fans are really good with like what teams have cap space and what they can trade. Like there's some fans that really dig deep, like they're actually NBA GMs. I'm not that good with the whole contract and expiring contracts and what team got the high draft picks to have it be realistic. I'm not that qualified yet to talk about that. But those are actually some really good teams that you mentioned out there, Ryan. Philly is actually a really good spot for Zach LaVine. I've been hearing that a lot. Or Miami too, even New York. Like if Jalen Brunson, because RJ Barrett's always getting hurt. If Jalen Brunson had another scorer with him, I think the Knicks would be a top 3 team this year. They still can be.
I agree. The thing, so the one thing that concerns me if I'm the Knicks or even Philly, right? Like if I go after Zach LaVine, we know that he's not a great defender. How is that going to work with Brunson and LaVine or Maxey and LaVine, right? Like, yeah, they're going to put up points, but who like you need to guard Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White, right? Like you got to guard the and like or you got to guard these teams that like Damian Lillard, who's guarding Damian, like you got to guard those guys. So that's the only concern where Miami, if you put them in Miami, they have defenders. That would be kind of a little bit more scary, I guess, with LaVine. So I'm kind of curious to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, that would be interesting because, like you said, unless they start miraculously winning games and Chicago's in the mix, then you don't do it. I don't think if you're the Chicago Bulls, because it's still early yet. I guess we're gonna see how the trade when the trade deadline happens. We'll see where they're at. So if Chicago is winning games and they're like, say, like the 6th or 7th seed or the 8th seed, do you blow it up if you're in contention?
Yeah, I just like my philosophy is if I'm not winning, I'm losing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I don't have a chance to win the title, if I'm not a contender or if I'm not leading up to that point, because let's face it, like Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Nurkic, they're all players that they are. Like they're not there's not another level to them. You know what I'm saying? Like they are who they are at this point. So you're with those three on the court, they're not outscoring teams, and that's a concern. So like I guess my point is being mediocre stinks. So if I'm the Chicago Bulls, I'm like, even if I'm the 8th seed, I'm just like, well, we're not beating Boston. We're not beating Philadelphia. We're not beating the Bucks. Like, what are we doing here? So to me, if I'm the Bulls, I'm just blowing up and getting as much, like you said, before your assets become less and less valuable. I want as much as I can for those guys right now. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's kind of thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.